No one knew who uploaded the video. It appeared suddenly, without warning, on forgotten corners of the human network. No title that made sense, no channel name, only a quiet sentence written in gray text. Watch before it's deleted. At first, people ignored it. The galaxy was full of noise, lies, and fake wonders. But something about this video felt different. It did not ask for attention. It felt like a confession. The video opened with darkness. Then light flickered on, harsh and cold. The camera shook, as if the person holding it was afraid. A room came into view. Metal walls, white lights, a transparent barrier standing in the center like a prison made of glass. On one side sat a human man. He looked ordinary, tired eyes, rough hands folded together. No uniform, no weapons, just a man who looked like he had not slept well in a long time. On the other side stood an alien girl. She was slim and still, her skin glowing faintly like moonlight underwater. Her eyes were large, unblinking, and far too calm. She did not look dangerous. She looked unfinished, like something the universe had not decided how to shape yet. Text appeared at the bottom of the screen. Subject L17. Species emotional null. Status observation. A quiet voice spoke in the background, almost a whisper. Her species removed emotion from themselves centuries ago. Fear caused mistakes. Love caused wars. Feeling was erased. The alien girl did not move. She did not blink when the man shifted in his chair. He cleared his throat. "Hi," he said softly, like he was afraid to scare her. She stared at him. Silence stretched, the kind of silence that presses on the chest. The man reached into his pocket and pulled out a small metal cup. He placed it carefully near the barrier. "It's warm," he said. "Humans drink this when they're tired, it helps." No reaction. The observers behind the camera did not interrupt. This was part of the test. Humans were emotional creatures. They wanted to see what happened when emotion met emptiness. The alien girl slowly lifted her hand. Her fingers touched the glass. The sound was quiet, but something about it felt loud. She tilted her head, studying the man like a puzzle that did not fit any known pattern. "What is the purpose of this interaction?" she asked. Her voice was smooth, perfect, empty. The man smiled, small and unsure. "I guess," he said, "to talk." "Talking has no measurable outcome," she replied. He nodded. "Yeah, sometimes it doesn't." The camera zoomed in slightly. A warning symbol blinked in the corner of the screen. The system already marked the footage as sensitive. The man leaned forward. "My name is Daniel," he said. "You don't have to remember it, I just wanted you to hear it." The alien girl paused. Something tiny happened, so small most viewers almost missed it. Her eyes flickered. Internal sensors spiked. The data logs, visible for a split second, showed a delay, a hesitation that should not exist. "Why?" she asked. Daniel swallowed. His voice grew quieter. "Because being known matters," he said. The room temperature shifted, not enough to trigger alarms, enough to register. The alien girl did not understand the sentence. But something inside her recorded it differently than everything else. The video glitched. Static cut through the sound. Red letters flashed. Content flagged for removal. Before the screen went black, the alien girl pressed her palm fully against the glass. And for the first time, her reflection did not look empty. The video ended. 9 minutes long. Deleted minutes later. But it was already too late. Because people who watched it felt something they could not explain. And somewhere, far from human space, an alien girl sat alone in a white room. Wondering why a stranger's name would not leave her mind, the alien girl did not sleep. Her species had removed the need for it long ago. Rest was inefficient. Dreams were useless. The mind worked best when it never stopped. Subject sat alone in her observation chamber, perfectly still, lights reflecting softly across her pale skin. The glass walls showed her own image from every angle, yet she did not recognize it as self. To her people, identity was only function. She replayed the interaction again. Not because she was told to, because something inside her demanded it. Her memory system reviewed Daniel's voice, his posture, the way his hands shook slightly when he spoke. These details should have been filtered out as irrelevant. Instead, they were marked with a strange internal tag. Unresolved. The overseers noticed the delay in her response time immediately. They gathered in the control chamber above, tall figures wrapped in smooth, dark armor. Their faces showed no emotion, only focus. "She is deviating," one said. "Minimal," another replied, "within acceptable range." "Humans introduce instability," the first answered. "We warned of this." Below them stood as the door slid open again. Daniel returned. This time he carried nothing, no cup, no device, just himself. He looked more tired than before, dark circles under his eyes, yet when he saw her his face softened. "Hey," he said. She observed the word. It had no clear meaning. "You returned," she stated. "Yeah," he replied. "I was hoping I could." "Hope is an assumption without data," she said. He smiled anyway. "I know." The overseers allowed the session to continue. They wanted to see more. Humans were unpredictable, but unpredictability could be studied. Daniel sat down and leaned back, hands resting on his knees. "Can I ask you something?" he said. She nodded once. "Do you ever wonder," he asked slowly, "what you're missing?" L-17 processed the question. "Nothing," she answered. "All necessary systems are present." Daniel looked at the glass between them. "That's what I thought too," he said quietly. She tilted her head. "About what?" "About myself," he said, "before I lost someone." Her sensors picked up a change in his breathing. His heart rate increased. "Loss is a decrease in resource availability," she said. Daniel shook his head. "No," he said, "it's different." He paused, searching for words. "It's like carrying something heavy inside you," he continued. "You don't see it, but it changes how you walk." The words entered her system. They did not fit. Her processors attempted to classify them. Metaphor detected. Emotional reference flagged. Again a delay. Daniel noticed. "You don't have to answer," he said quickly. "I'm sorry I talked too much." "No," she replied. Her voice surprised even herself. "Continue." The overseers leaned closer to their screens. Daniel looked at her carefully, as if she might disappear if he spoke too loudly. "My sister used to sit with me like this," he said. "She didn't talk much either, but I knew she was there, and that mattered." "Why did it matter?" L-17 asked. He swallowed. "Because I wasn't alone." The word echoed inside her systems. Alone. She had never considered it before. She had always existed among others of her kind, yet none had ever stayed. Interaction ended when data was collected. Presence ended when purpose ended. Daniel remained. Her chest area registered a subtle warmth. An alert flashed in her internal diagnostics. Unknown physiological response. She ignored it. "What is your function here?" she asked. Daniel smiled sadly. "I think," he said, "I'm just supposed to be human." The overseers exchanged silent signals. This was becoming dangerous. Below them, an alien girl designed without feeling stared at a human man who should not matter. And for the first time since her creation, wondered if efficiency was missing something important. Something the humans carried so easily. Something heavy. Something warm. The change was small at first. so small that the overseers almost missed it. Subject began responding slower than before. Not much, only a fraction of a second, but in a species built on perfection, even a fraction mattered. Data screens filled with numbers, emotional absence confirmed, logical structure intact, yet one warning continued to blink softly in the corner of the system. Anomaly, persistent cognitive delay. The cause was clear. The human. Daniel was no longer scheduled for daily sessions. The overseers reduced his access without explanation. Human influence was proving inefficient. When Daniel arrived and found the chamber empty, his chest tightened. "Where is she?" he asked the guard. "Session canceled," the guard replied flatly. Daniel stood there longer than necessary. He did not argue. He did not shout. He only nodded and walked away slowly, as if leaving something unfinished behind him. Inside the chamber, L-17 waited. She did not know she was waiting. Time passed. No footsteps, no voice, no strange warmth in the air. Her internal clock marked the delay. Session absence, unexpected. Her chest area registered the same warmth again, stronger now. Her system searched for damage. None found. She placed her hand against the glass. Nothing happened. Above her, the overseers observed in silence. "She is forming dependency," one stated. "Incorrect," another replied. "Dependency requires emotional capacity." "Then explain the physiological response," the first said. No answer came. The next day, Daniel returned without authorization. Security alarms flared, red lights flashing through the corridor. Guards moved to intercept him. "Please," Daniel said, raising his hands. "I just want to talk to her, 5 minutes." "Stand down," an overseer commanded after a pause. Daniel was escorted into the room under heavy watch. L-17 turned toward the sound of the door opening. Her processors spiked. He was there. Her posture changed slightly, so slightly it barely registered, but it was different. "You returned," she said. Daniel exhaled, relief visible in his face. "Yeah," he said. "I wasn't sure they'd let me." "Why did you come?" she asked. He looked at her through the glass. "Because you were quiet yesterday," he said, "and I didn't like that." She did not understand the statement. Yet something inside her relaxed. "I do not experience silence negatively," she said. "I know," Daniel replied, "but I do." He sat down slowly, as if afraid sudden movement might break something fragile. "They told me I make you unstable," he said. "Instability is undesirable," L-17 answered. Daniel nodded. "That's what they say about humans too." The overseers watched closely now. Daniel leaned forward. "Can I ask you something honest?" he said. "Yes," she replied. "Do you feel different," he asked, "when I'm here?" The question caused a system pause. Milliseconds stretched. Her processors searched for a correct answer. "I experience increased internal activity," she said finally. "It is inefficient." Daniel smiled softly. "That's what feeling usually is," he said. An alert flashed red in her system. Emotional classification, attempt DETCTED. She raised her hand to her chest. "What is this response?" she asked. Daniel's smile faded. He looked scared now. "That," he said quietly, "might be the beginning of something." The overseer stood. "This session is over," one commanded. Guards moved in. Daniel stood quickly. "Wait," he said. "She's not broken, she's learning." "Learning emotion leads to chaos," the overseer replied. Daniel's voice shook. "Or maybe it leads to choice." L-17 watched him. His heart rate was high, his hands trembled. He was afraid. Yet he stood between her and them. That image burned into her memory. The guards pulled him away. As the door closed, spoke louder than ever before. Daniel. He turned. I will record this moment, she said. It has value. The overseers froze. That statement made no logical sense. Daniel smiled just for a second. Then he was gone. Alone again, stood in the white room, systems racing, chest warm, mind unsettled. Perfection had cracked. And through that crack, something unknown was quietly entering her world. The alarms came first. Red lights flashed across the sterile room. A low hum vibrated through the walls. The overseer's decision was final. Subject was to be deleted. Not killed, not punished, corrected, erased. Every trace of deviation, every spark of feeling, gone in an instant. She did not understand fear. Her species had removed it. Yet when the guards arrived, moving silently with precise efficiency, something inside her stirred. A pattern she had never known before pulsed faintly. Daniel was dragged into the chamber under heavy restraint. His hands were bound, but his eyes were fixed on her. He did not scream. He did not curse. He simply watched, silent, like he was carrying the weight of the universe on his shoulders. They are here to correct you, he said softly, almost whispering, but I will not let them. Tilted her head. Her internal diagnostics struggled to categorize this input. Resistance from a human was illogical. Humans were supposed to comply, to fail, to be contained. Yet Daniel remained. His presence caused anomalies in her systems that no protocol could fix. The deletion sequence began. Machines hummed. Panels blinked red. A countdown appeared on the control screens above, 543. Felt something that her species had no word for. Not pain, not terror, not joy. A hollow, stretching emptiness like the world itself had begun to close around her. Memories of Daniel's stories, his laughter, his small, uncertain smile flooded her system in uncalculated bursts. Daniel, she whispered, though she did not understand why. He looked at her through the transparent barrier. His eyes glistened, lips trembling. It's okay, he said. I'm here. The countdown reached one. Lights across the room dimmed. Panels screamed in alarms. The deletion protocol would erase her consciousness and leave only a perfect, empty shell. But L-17 did something no program, no overseer, no human had ever expected. She reached not with code, not with a network command, but with will, a raw, untrained, human-like intent. She pushed through the machine systems. Lights flickered, panels froze, warning sirens stuttered. The countdown halted at 1 second. Daniel's eyes widened. You're resisting, he whispered, awe and fear blending. Yes, L-17 replied. Her voice was steady but strange, almost human. I will not be erased. The overseers screamed through the network, but their control slipped. A biological anomaly had learned to manipulate logic. Emotion, impossible, unpredictable, spreading like fire through cold, precise systems. Daniel's hands shook against the glass. You're alive, he said. You're really alive. L-17 sensors registered the warmth in her chest again, stronger now. She could not define it. It had no parameters, no efficiency, no purpose other than existence. Outside the chamber, alarms screamed across the facility. Deletion units were overridden. Machines designed to erase her memories stuttered. The overseers' faces contorted, rage flashing in calculated, controlled motions. Contain it, one screamed. She cannot exist like this. But the containment failed. Systems designed for absolute control crumbled in the face of something new, something the overseers had never anticipated, a will born of feeling. Daniel watched as her form glowed softly in the red and white strobing lights. You're extraordinary, he said. L-17 did not understand the word. She only understood the sensation it carried. For the first time, her species had a choice. And in that moment, as the lights dimmed and alarms echoed, the perfect world of calculation shattered. A human had stayed. A girl who was not meant to feel had chosen to survive. And nothing, not protocol, not logic, not centuries of design, could stop what had begun. The galaxy noticed the change before anyone realized it. L-17, the alien girl designed without emotion, had survived deletion. Not just survived, she had evolved. Her systems, once perfect and cold, now pulsed with something unmeasurable. Warmth, curiosity, something the overseers could not quantify. They called it instability. Humans called it life. Daniel was freed after the chaos of the failed deletion. Guards left him standing in the chamber, confused, uncertain, but unharmed. He looked at her, and for a moment the weight of the galaxy felt small, almost manageable. "You did it," he said. His voice was quiet, filled with awe. "You stopped them." L-17 did not reply immediately. Her sensors were still running diagnostic after diagnostic, trying to classify what she had done, why she had done it. Nothing matched the patterns. No command, no instinct, no code. Only choice. Daniel stepped closer. "They'll try again," he said. "They always do, but this moment it proves something." She tilted her head as if studying a new species entirely. "Something unknown," she said. It was not a question, it was observation, and it was true. Outside the facility, reports flew faster than light. The deletion protocol failure spread across alien networks. L-17's anomaly had infected the system. Other units, other colonies began experiencing glitches. Redundant calculations paused. Emotionless directives faltered. Entire fleets hesitated. The galaxy's logical machine, for the first time, showed a heartbeat. The overseers panicked. Messages flew across channels, orders barked, commands overridden, but each system, touched, adapted unpredictably. The humans had done this. Daniel had done this. And the galaxy now teetered on the edge of something it could not control. Moved through the chamber without hesitation. Daniel followed. There were no walls anymore, only obstacles she calculated for but no longer feared. She had no plans, no logic for this freedom, only the strange new directive: exist. They reached the exit corridor. Red alarms flashed around them. Security drones swarmed. L-17's movements were fluid, precise, but unmeasured. Calculations failed to anticipate her. Each step left a trace of something alien and human combined, a spark of unpredictability that could not be suppressed. Daniel caught her hand as they ran. "Hold on," he shouted. His voice shook, but his grip was firm. She felt the warmth, the pressure, simple, human, terrifying, exhilarating. Her sensors recorded an error, comfort, connection. She did not care about the label. Only the sensation mattered. Outside, the human fleet waited. Ships lined up silently, waiting to evacuate or observe. But the humans did not bring weapons. They brought recordings, music, stories, memories offered freely. They had learned to fight with heart, with chaos, with the things that could not be predicted by any algorithm. L-17 watched them. Her eyes reflected the stars. She had never seen beauty before, or freedom, or people who fought not for control but for something invisible, fragile, and alive. Daniel let go of her hand for a moment and held up a small device. "This," he said, "is for you to understand us, to choose." She took it. She did not know how to read the files, did not yet know what emotion meant, but she felt something swell inside her. Curiosity, hunger, the pulse of life. The overseer's messages became frantic. Commands turned to screams. L-17's presence corrupted their order. Systems failed. Ships paused. Decisions were reconsidered. Daniel looked at her. "You are the first," he said. "The first to choose, and once someone chooses, it spreads." She studied him, then the fleet, then the blinking stars. For the first time she smiled, not with lips, not with code, but with existence. Something raw and human had entered her world. Humanity had never intended to conquer the galaxy with weapons. They had conquered it with something infinitely more dangerous: heart. And the galaxy would never be the same. Years passed. and the galaxy began to shift in ways no one had predicted. L-17 was no longer a test subject. She had chosen a name for herself after watching the first human sunset she could perceive through the observation windows of a quiet, abandoned station. She called herself Aya, a word that meant beginning in several human languages, though she only knew it for the feeling it brought. Her people still monitored her. The overseers could not understand her decisions, her unpredictability. They tried to rebuild the logical framework they had erased, to force her into compliance, but every attempt failed. Aya had learned how to navigate both the rules of her species and the chaos of human emotion. Daniel had returned to Earth. He lived quietly, teaching children, planting gardens, and telling stories. Yet he never forgot her, and she never forgot him. They met sometimes, far from cameras, far from fleets, where no one could record the moments. Aya did not know what longing meant, but she recognized it when she saw Daniel's face. One day she stood on a platform overlooking a small human settlement on a distant planet. Children played in the dust, laughing in a language that made her processors warm in ways she could not calculate. Their joy was chaotic, messy, imperfect, and yet it was beautiful. She turned to a group of alien delegates observing her. They were silent, waiting for logic. Aya faced them squarely. "You designed us to be perfect," she said, her voice steady, echoing slightly in the open hall. "You removed fear, anger, hope, and love. You said we would be safe, efficient, unstoppable." She paused, her chest area where her species had no organ, yet she now felt something tightened. But what is perfection without choice? A murmur passed through the delegates. One of them tilted its head, a gesture Aya had learned humans used to signal curiosity. "I have chosen," she continued. "I have chosen to feel, to act, to decide for myself. And because of that choice, I am alive in ways you will never understand. And so is everyone I touch." Daniel watched from the edge of the platform. His hand rested lightly on hers. No technology, no analysis, no observer could measure the pulse running between them. It was raw, unpredictable, alive. Aya looked out at the horizon, at the children, at the stars. "This is what life can be," she said. "Full of mistakes, full of losses, full of fear, and full of beauty. And we will not be silent anymore." Her species had called this chaos. Humans had called it freedom. Aya called it choice. Years later, stories of the alien girl who felt spread across systems. Some laughed. Some dismissed them as human exaggerations. Others listened. Young soldiers hesitated before firing. Scientists paused before altering minds. Children questioned the rules they had been taught. And for the first time in centuries, emotion became a language no one could delete. Daniel never became famous. He never wrote a book about her or told the story to the world. Fame could not hold the weight of what they shared. He returned to Earth quietly, but in his eyes there was pride. The pride of someone who had helped spark something impossible. I have visited him often, sometimes with ships, sometimes in secret portals between worlds. They never needed words to measure their connection. She could not define her feelings fully, but she knew the warmth, the pull, the spark that humans called love. Her people continued to watch, confused, angered, fascinated. Some still sought to contain her. Others wondered if they should follow. Aya simply walked forward, leading by example. Not with weapons, not with commands, but with the quiet, unstoppable power of choice. For the first time in galactic history, one being, unplanned and unmeasured, had reshaped the destiny of many. And in the quiet moments, standing on a hill under alien suns or sitting beside Daniel on Earth, Aya understood something her creators never intended. Life was not about perfection. Life was about choosing. And she had chosen. And nothing, not logic, not fear, not the rules of 1,000 generations, could take that away. The last copy of the video existed on a small, encrypted server. No one knew who uploaded it this time. No one knew how it survived deletion attempts over the years. The file flickered on screens across the galaxy for seconds at a time, always disappearing, always returning, like it had a will of its own. It opened in darkness, then light, the same sterile room, the same glass barrier, and there she was, Aya, not anymore. The alien girl who had not been designed to feel had changed everything. Daniel stood across from her. He was older now. Lines etched his face. His hands trembled slightly, not from weakness but from the weight of memory. His eyes met hers, steady, unwavering. Aya's gaze softened. She did not understand every human word the same way Daniel did, but she understood the meaning, the weight behind them. The pause before a word, the sigh afterward, the honesty in imperfection. "You taught us that feeling is not weakness," she said. Her voice echoed softly in the empty chamber. "It is direction, it is purpose, it is choice." Daniel's lips curved into a small, proud smile. He did not need to say anything more. She already understood the gift he had given her, not just survival but the courage to exist fully. The red warning symbol blinked briefly in the corner of the frame. The system had tried one last time to delete the video, to erase her story, to erase the proof that a girl who was never meant to feel had taught her kind to choose. But it failed. Aya turned to the camera. Her eyes, wide and shimmering, held a quiet command, not to obey but to remember. "Watch this," she said. "Remember that no system can contain what is alive, that no logic can erase choice, that no fear can undo heart, because we exist, and we choose." Behind her, the stars outside the chamber glimmered, vast and infinite. Daniel's hand brushed hers lightly. She felt the warmth pulse through her system again, a sensation she could not name but could not ignore. The overseer's voices screamed across transmissions in futile commands. Delete, override, contain, but it was already too late. Their perfection had fractured. Their galaxy, once silent and precise, now hummed with chaos, with possibility, with life. Outside, colonies whispered the stories she had inspired. Ships hesitated before firing. Scientists paused before altering minds. Children asked questions no one had ever dared ask before. The ripple of one choice stretched across worlds. Daniel bent slightly closer to her, voice low. "You've changed everything," he said. Aya did not answer. She only smiled. Not with code, not with protocol, but with existence itself. Her smile carried the weight of freedom, of choice, of a life that was never meant to belong to her, but that she had claimed anyway. For a moment the video froze, pixels shimmered. Then it began to glitch, corrupting. Red letters flashed, content flagged for deletion. But even as the file disappeared, the story survived. In whispers, in memories, in quiet defiance across galaxies. Aya's choice had been made. Daniel's courage had been witnessed. And humanity, fragile, messy, emotional, had won in a way weapons never could. A screen blinked black. Silence followed. And yet, somewhere far away, on a small planet, a young alien child tilted their head at the sky, sensing something new. They did not understand it fully, but they knew this. Feeling was not weakness. Choice was not forbidden. Life was more than perfect. And the girl who wasn't supposed to feel had shown them the way. For the first time, the galaxy remembered what it meant to be alive. And that could never be deleted.